MF Doom. Mr. Fantastic.
I got into MF Doom through my mum actually, but not on purpose. She went to this pub called, I think, the Milk Bar, and then she gave me the playlist that was of the music that was playing there, and I just noticed there was just loads of songs by this artist, Danger Doom, because it wasn't like Doom himself, it was one of his alter egos in his collab projects, and I was like, this artist is just odd, just strange.
I found out about him because my brother was listening to him, and I thought that my brother was like really
He's
cool.
not actually.
No, he's not actually that cool, but I thought he was really cool. So I started listening to him, and I was like, whoa, his music's actually pretty good.
I was just chilling with my friends. I actually remember exactly where I was. We were at Kings Park in Jamaica, Queens, and one of my friends was displayed a Figaro on his speaker. And I wasn't really into hip hop at that time, but I Shazammed it anyways, and it was like in my Shazam list for like several months. And one day I was going through it, and I just saw like the Mad Villainy album cover. I was like really intrigued by it, and this was when I was like getting into hip hop and rap. And I just remember seeing the album cover and just being like really intrigued by it.
Well, I think for me personally, he hasn't like necessarily been an artist that I've gone to like a lot until maybe like the last 2 years kind of thing. But I think like from that, I've listened to him quite a lot, and so then he's become more impactful like since then.
I think for me it was like, oh shit, I've forgotten the question now. MF Doom, he's been that a lot for me. Personally, he's been there for me.
Right there.
But also like he's been like Dora. I haven't really known him for too long. I'd say probably around the same like 2 years. I think it was Lockdown, the first one.
Yeah.
When it was a proper like deep dive. Not deep dive, but like that's when we started exploring more.
Yeah, I think it was, the first song I heard was Crosshairs, and I was immediately like, I didn't love it at first. I was just like, okay, this is something very different to what I normally listen to, but still in line with it. Like it seems like it was something I would like, but it didn't quite click yet. And then like a few months after that, I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw, what did I see? You know those highlighted videos talking about rhymes, and it was talking about the rhyme scheme on That's That. And I remember seeing just every single word highlighted, with every single word rhyming with another word, and being just so impressed with just the sheer just like creativity of that. Because I hadn't listened to like a lot of lyrical hip hop before that. I was mainly instrumental hip hop kind of guy before that. So when I heard this, I was just like, this is what rap should be. You know what I mean? That was what I was like, oh, this is what I want to listen to for the rest of my life. This is the type of music I want to be exploring.
Yo, that Rap Snitches shit on the Doom album, yeah, that's easily one of the greatest shits ever. Rap Snitches, tell them all their business. Take it to court, they be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here.
There's actually, I'm sure a lot of people have seen the video of Mos Def like geeking out over Doom, and like he mentions like how he like just stared at the album cover.
Like, dude, I swear to God, when I saw that Mad Villain record, I bought it on vinyl. I didn't even have a record player. I bought it on vinyl just to stare at the album. And I stared at it and I just kept going, I understand it. I was like, I understand.
And I kind of get what he means by that, because like I was very intrigued as well by the album cover, and I think that's what really like sucked me in, and like that's how I first discovered Doom.
I have like such a specific memory of like walking to school on like one of the first days of Brit, listening to Doomsday, and
That's kind of cute.
being like, oh, this is a good song. I'm gonna put this onto my playlist.
What song was it?
I think it was Doomsday.
Yeah, I can't lie.
Yeah.
It is definitely a good bopping tune. You know, them ones where you're walking, and like the sun is shining. It's like the start of spring, and then you're like, slap on some Operation Doomsday.
I had that as well with Rap Snitch Knishes last year, when like it was one of like the first sunny days of spring, and we were coming out of lockdown as well. And I was like, this is a bit of a throwback.
It was my freeing song.
It was freeing.
The beat of That's That is crazy. All the lyrical stuff he's doing is ridiculous, and I was stuck at that very point. That was when I was like, yeah, this is the artist I love.
Well, I think there's the like quote that's like, he's your favourite rapper's favourite rapper, And so I think because of that, he feels very organic, like, because he's like the original kind of, well, not the original, but like he's got a very iconic voice, and you can tell that it's Doom if he's on something.
I've been getting into rapping a lot more recently, and obviously, coming off of that, I realized that I really love having the intro rhymes in the middle of bars, not just ending a line with a rhyme, but putting it in between everything you're saying. I just think I think that specifically is something I've really got stuck with me. But then on top of that, it's just like, he would always talk about himself in like the third person, you know what I mean? He'd be like, Doom wrote grammar like the Kumbaya, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't say I wrote grammar like the Kumbaya. He would say his own name, or he would refer to himself as, oh, he does this. He wouldn't be like, oh, I do this. And I think that's quite an interesting way of going about it. That's definitely one way. Another way is just writing nonsense. You know what I mean? Like you can tell from the things that Doom is saying, he doesn't take himself seriously. He's just very much like, oh, that's what I do. This is my rhymes I do. Like when you write a whole song about how the person you're getting with has bad breath, you realize, you know what, you don't care, but you do care about what you're saying and how you sound, but you don't care about being the most smart person in the room, or the most intellectual person in the room. You just care about what you're doing, the music you're making. And that's how I think he's taken my writing to a higher level, by just being so just himself in everything he does.
I think, especially like his comic persona influenced my art a lot, in even things like colour combination and definitely like style as well. I got really into collaging like comics, and then also like creating characters.
He also, like, it's kind of finding humour with, like, also sort of really good kind of beats behind it as well. And so it makes, like, for me, he's made me want to go and find more instrumental things that aren't necessarily, like, classical music, which is kind of the other side of instrumental music that I listen to, or maybe jazz. And I think he has a lot of influence, like, in that kind of genre of kind of going down, like, jazz rap. I feel like I've kind of gone to a lot of jazz rap from him.
I think Doom, like, his production was just very like interesting in the way that he didn't really, like, when he did produce, it was never anything like mind-boggling. He got a sample, a drum break, and he just put it together. But it's mainly the samples he did use that were just wild. Like him using, like, in beef rap, he uses just a sample from like a random Spider-Man snippet.
My face, it is hideous.
And so, Victor Von Doom hid from the world, taking refuge with the mysterious order of monks.
Beef rap can lead to getting teeth capped, or even a reef from armed dudes on some grief crap. I suggest a change of diet. It can lead to high blood pressure.
That's crazy. Who does that? No one but Doom does that. You know what I mean? That's how Doom did it. So from that I went, alright, how can I distinguish myself? How can I have my own style? You know what I mean? Because Doom's style was, let me take random samples from the middle of nowhere, and I was like, okay, let me also try and do that, but in a different way. So like I was scouting on YouTube for hours looking for just some random saxophone solo from this guy with like 2 subscribers that I just seen like completely randomly, and it's stuff like that when I'm like, okay, that's my style, that's what I do.
He's influenced my relationship with music through just the way he puts himself out there, I can't lie. Mm-hmm. Like the personalities and the narratives he weaves through his music has made me sort of listen more, because I think I'm quite a casual music listener, and I think you are too. So I think it's very, he makes me want to go out and find other people like him. Yeah. And when you do find that, you'll be like, oh, I found this person because I liked MF Doom. It's like, you know, it's like your YouTube recommended feed, isn't it? You listen to Doom and then you go find someone like, I don't know, Joey Badass or Tribe, for example.
I just think that anyone in any room could be an MF Doom fan, because he's the kind of person where if you ask someone if they like him, no matter what they look like or who they are, you're probably not going to be surprised if they say yes, because he's very versatile.
I think being a Doom fan is the same as being a fan of literally anything else. In fact, I think it's counterintuitive to try to like frame it as, you know, Doom fans are so unique or so intelligent, because in reality, you know, you're just a regular artist, and I don't think it's helpful to like try to frame it as anything else, because it kind of makes it like harder for newcomers to want to get into Doom, because people might be like, oh, you know, you have to be this to be a Doom fan, when in reality that's just like a really big disservice to Doom and his legacy, because we need new people to get into Doom for them to like carry it on into future generations. So I don't like framing it as like, oh, Doom fans are unique or they're so intelligent.
And with all your artists who would know Doom, like your Tylers, your Earl Sweatshirts, your Mos Defs, your Freddie Gibbs and all of them, they would all be like, okay, here's this one guy who's just doing him. Let me just do me. You know what I mean? Especially with Tyler Creator and Earl Sweatshirt, like they made their own music, innit? No one does music like Earl Sweatshirt and Tyler. They just do that. And the reason they did that is because they saw Doom being able to do that. They saw Doom making and living his life however he pleased, because he just made whatever he wanted, and then it just went from there.
I don't know anything about the rap industry, but I guess one thing that that stands out to me is how Doom sort of finessed the record labels by offering the labels different pseudonyms that he worked under. So sure, one label might, you know, own the rights to Victor Vaughn's music, but then Doom could turn around and put out music like under King Ghidorah, for example, and the record label has like no ownership of that like name, and he could go and do, you know, special herbs or release food, for example, and record label one doesn't have claim over that because he signed Victor Vaughn, not MF Doom. I think like that was like super super dope. Other rappers have done similar things, like Frank Ocean, ASAP Rocky, and I don't think they were like inspired or like learned from MF Doom, but Doom was like definitely one of the first people to like finesse the record labels in such a way. Very smart, I think.
I think the fact that he was anonymous draws a lot of different types of people in, because I think when you hear music from a certain artist, you tend to associate the music with a face, but when you don't have a face to associate it with, it's a lot more easy to relate to it personally and make it more about you and your own personal experiences than about the artist themselves.
I think it's distinguished them from other rappers of the time. You know, what other artist in the mid 2000s or the early 2000s was wearing a metal mask on stage? Most people they wanted their face to be recognized, but Doom, on the other hand, you know, he thought outside of the box and he made the mask the symbol.
To me, from the musical aspect, hip hop is one of the directions to where it's like 100 or almost damn near 100% on everything besides the music, like what you look like, the sound of your name, to what you're wearing, the brand of clothing, whatever intoxicants you choose to put in your body, to, you know, things, everything except for what the music sounds like. So the mask is really a testament to, it's not about none of that. It's straight about the wreck.
And I think that, like, you know, really made him unique and distinguished him from other MCs at the time. I think that has definitely, you know, made him stand out over the years.
With me specifically, recently, in the way that I've been uploading my music and that, I very much separate myself from it. Like, I'm not posting loads of pictures of myself being like, oh, go listen to my music. I post the music, I post maybe a song that inspired me, and then I leave it. I'm not trying to be the music. I want my music to be the music, you know what I mean? And that's what Doom was doing. That's why I put on the mask, is he was like, okay, too many people are having having them speak for the music instead of the music speaking for itself. So that's why Doom put on the mask, and that's why, for me, I don't really present myself when I'm presenting my music. I just put my beats out there, hope someone likes my beats, and then just leave it out there. If that works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't think I need the validation of the numbers in that. And that's what I feel Doom was as well, you know what I mean? Like, he was just making music because he loved music. Like, in terms of what he would want to do for numbers and that, releasing 4 albums in 2003 isn't the best way to be making the most money you can, you know what I mean? He would spread out those releases, but because he was just wanting to release this music because he made it, he didn't end up doing it in the conventional way. That's probably the way that I've taken it. That's probably what I've taken from the way he did it.
And he was born in the UK but raised on Long Island. Tonight, the music world mourning the loss of legendary rapper MF Doom.
Like they know what's about to happen. Just keep your eye out like I capping.
The public rarely saw his face, but they knew his voice. Daniel DeMille passed away at the age of 49. He was best known by his stage name, MF Doom, a famously mysterious masked rapper and producer who gained a cult following across the world. His wife confirmed his death yesterday, saying he passed away back on October 31st.
Doom dying, I think it was... I didn't like it. Which obviously sounds very like cheap, but whatever. I wasn't shocked because obviously he hasn't been putting out music for about 5 years, so I knew like not something was going on, but like my interest in him had gone down a bit, which is kind of sad to say. But then when I found out, because it was New Year's,
It was New Year's.
It was on New Year's that his wife posted on Instagram. And I remember that night we found out, and it was like 10 minutes before midnight. And then on the stroke of midnight, we played Rhymes Like Dimes at our like little sesh that we were having with our friends. And like that was quite emotional because we all knew the lyrics to it. And like, especially when he goes, mashed potatoes, applesauce, that was, I can't lie, for some reason, that just really hit. And I was like, rah, we've lost a legend.
But I remember one of my friends like going, okay, well, I feel like we need to commemorate him. And so we like linked up all of our Spotifys, and so then we're playing it like, but with mute, because otherwise the technology is just not going to work out. And then like there was this kind of like, one of my friends like sort of was like, no, this is too much, and kind of like was all on the brink of tears. And yeah, it's just kind of the thing of you don't realize how much like music can mean to you until you realize you're not going to get any more music from someone. And then you kind of have a new appreciation for them, but it's still that kind of like, oh my god, this has actually happened.
I think it was really interesting as well to see other people's reactions to it, because I feel like obviously when someone dies, there's obviously like a lot of love that's shown to whoever it is, but with this, it was I feel like it was more than that. It was more than like the tweets and like all the rips on like people's Snapchat stories and stuff like that. It was more like people wanted to show their appreciation and what he'd done for them. So like I saw loads of fan edits and things like that on YouTube, and I feel like that kind of, you know, wholesomeness spread through like the way he made his music. Was just, I feel like that was part of what he was trying to do, you know.
I think it's already quite nostalgic, even for just a few years ago, and I think a lot of people, because obviously, like I said, it's a very broad demographic, so I think people of all ages listen to it, and you can tell that people that used to listen to him are already listening to him in a nostalgic sense, so I think it will sort of carry on to people's parents, and then I think their children will probably sort of discover it through their parents. I think it's sort of like a time capsule. I think it's quite reminiscent.
I really feel like he didn't have people that hated him in the music industry as well.
No.
Like he probably did, but in the way that has so many people that I saw react to his death, it was very much a, like, we have literally lost such an incredible musician. This is like really sad. This is going to be remembered.
Wearing the mask, he wasn't him. You weren't looking at Doomale, you were looking at Doom. And I think that kind of uncentering of self is what really like inspired all the people who did end up coming to him. You know what I mean? All the people who like, what, your Bishop Neru's and that. When they're listening to Doom, they're like, oh, it's just some entity. It's not Doomale. It's not any of the people before him or after him. It's just him in that very moment. It's just the music in that very, very moment when you're listening to it, and that's the only thing that's there. You don't got the context, you don't got the personality behind it, you got just the music. And that's what I think is such an incredible way, is why Doom was such an incredible creator. Just ridiculous.